Now this video I'm going to talk about difficult encounter in surd series 3. So in this series we're going to look at how to add 2 or 3 surds when the denominator or the denominators of the fraction are already surd. So we're going to look at how to do it. So for example now, so this is an example that we're going to start with. So I'm going to zoom in out. So let me put it up. So let's look at this one. How do we add these two surd fractions together? So what is the least common multiple of 3 and 6? The least common multiple of 4 and 2 is 2. Sorry, it's 4. The least common multiple of 8 and 16 is 16. So the least common multiple of 10 and 5 is 5. So when you make list of multiples of 10 and 5, what you are going to have, you will have 10 is equals to and 5 is equals to. So you want to make the multiples of 10 and the multiples of 5. So I've already taught you this stuff, so you should know how to do it. So let's go ahead and add these two surds together. So we know that the least common multiple of 6 and 3 is 6. So therefore the least common multiple of root 3 and root 6 will be root 6. So what you should do first is to take root 6 and divide it by this root 6. With this root 6 is your LCM. Divide this root 6 by this root 6 here. So root 6 divided by root 6, it will give you 1. So multiply the first fraction by 1. But technically, you don't really need to multiply this fraction by 1, because when you multiply that fraction by 1, it will remain as it was. That value of root 5 over root 6 will not change. So I'm going to leave it as root 5 over root 6. But for the sake of those who will not know what I'm talking about, I'm going to multiply this fraction by the 1, which is the 1 over here. So it goes to be root 5 times 1 and root 6 times 1. Because what you use to multiply the denominator, you use it to multiply the numerator as well. Then write your plus sign. Then let me get rid of all this stuff, but I'm going to get rid of this stuff, but keep in mind that the LCM is the LCM is root 6. Divide your root 6 by root 3. Root 6 divided by root 3 is root 2. This quotient, root 2, multiplied by the second fraction. So you should get root 2 times root 2 over root 3, the denominator here, times your quotient times root 2. So at this point, we can clear off what you see over here, and so let's multiply root 5 times root 1. Root 5 times root 1 is root 5. So that's root 5, and root 6 times 1 is also root 6, plus root 2 times root 2 is basically root 4, and root 4 is 2. So keep that in mind. What is root 3 times root 6? And root 3 times root 2 is root 6. So this is square root of 6. So for this one now, you are going to write it as whole number. So what you should do, because of the denominators are the same, you want to choose one and write it below it, root 6, then write root 5 plus 2, because root 4 is 2. That is, when you see root 4, you want to find two numbers, which the square root symbol is asking you. Two numbers that you can multiply together to give you 4, the content of the square root symbol, which is 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So the two numbers is 2. So therefore, square root of 4 is 2. So down, this is the answer for this problem. So this is the answer for the problem you see right here. So the answer is root 5 plus 2 over root 6. However, this is not our answer. There is something called rationalization. So let's focus on that. So rationalization what does this word mean? To rationalize. Now, to rationalize is basically you need to take the symbol. Whenever you see the square root symbol at the denominator side of the fraction, you want to take it up. So you want to take it up. So this, you are going to remove the square root symbol from that axis by doing what? By multiplying everything, the denominator root 6 by root 6, and the everything here root 5 and plus 2 by root 6 as well. So that is how we rationalize. So now at this point, now what you want to do now, I would like to tell you something. You will not use this multiplication sign, rather you're going to use bracket. I'm going to remove that multiplication sign. So you are going to use bracket A instead, because when you multiply a single term, for example this A, if you want to multiply it with a 2 plus, and let's say 2 plus s, you will need to put your 2 plus s inside the bracket, so that this A will be effectively multiplied to x and to s and to both terms basically. But if you don't use the bracket, these two, this A will only be multiplied to these two or to s, but not to the two, not to the two terms. For example, let's say that you see that A times, let's say you want to multiply this A with 2 plus s. Then if you say A times 2 plus s, you will simply get 2A plus s, and this answer here is wrong. But even though you put the A here, the answer will also be wrong. It will be 2 plus s times A, so it will be 2 plus sa. So this answer will also be wrong. So these answers are wrong. This answer here and this answer here are not the correct answer. But what should we do instead? We're going to use bracket in order to to put what are here. We need to put them inside a bracket. Coming. So let's put these two numbers inside a bracket. So we should get A times 2 plus s. So when you set them like this, you'll be able to multiply that A to the 2 and the A to s. So you should get 2A plus as. So this is the answer. But if you don't use the bracket, you won't be able to get the correct answer. So when you want to multiply a single term with 2 terms or with 3 terms, you need to enclose the 3 terms inside the bracket. For example, let's say I'm going to multiply this 2A by b plus C plus D. How should we multiply this single term by these three terms? Now you want to enclose these three terms inside the bracket first, then you'll be able to multiply that to A to the to this B, C, and to the D. So now it will give you 2AB plus 2AC plus 2AD. So this is the answer if you put them inside the bracket. So let me clear off whatever is here. So the same is true with this root 6 that we're going to multiply by root 5 plus 2, because there are two terms here, root 5 and day 2. So you want to put it inside a bracket. So you should know where to use bracket and where not to use it. So in this situation, we need to use the bracket. So now what you're going to have is root 6 times root 5. Root 6 times root 5 is the same thing as you multiply the two numbers that are inside the two square symbols together. 5 times 6 is 30. So you get root 30 plus, what is root 6 times 2? Root 6 times 2 is 2 root 6. Simply move this 2 behind that square symbol. So it's the same as you see it this way, 2 times root 6, or root 6 times 2. Move this 2 closer to the square symbol. So that is how we do it. So now what we're going to have now is over, now root 6 times root 6, it's root 36. But if you want to, you can simply remove this, because the two square symbols will cancel each other. But if you want to do it clearly, you may do it like this. You're going to get the same answer. Can we reduce this root 30? What two numbers can we write together to give us root 30? And which one will be perfect square and the other will be non-perfect square? Now 9 times 4 is 36. So we're not looking for 36, we're looking for 30. 9 is perfect square, 4 is also perfect square, so these two numbers cannot be used either. What about 6? So 6 cannot be used. So 36 cannot be reduced. So therefore, we're going to leave it as 30, as 30, let's leave it as 30. So we should write root 30 plus 2 root 6. What is root 36? Square root of 36 is 6. So now this answer now, the expression at the top is factorable. So you want to factorize it. So let me do it here. Maybe I should. Let me move everything here closer to this portion. So let me put it here. So here we go. So at this point, we want to factorize 30 and so we want to factorize root 30 and this 2 root 6. How can we factorize it? What can we factorize among 30 and 6? Because those are the only two numbers you can factor out. 2 now is not on both sides. We have number here, but that number is invisible number. So therefore, what we're going to write here is going to be 6 outside. So just write 6 outside because 6 can divide 30 and 6 can divide 7. So when you use factorize, you need the highest common factor, also known as GCF, greatest common factor of the two terms or of the terms that you want to factorize. So that's it. So for this one now, you should get 2. Now when you want to create your bracket, take root, sorry, it's root 6, not 6, it's root 6, then bracket root 30 divided by 6. So you should get, sorry, root 30 divided by root 6, you should get root 5. So on the portion of this, the first portion of the bracket, put root 5 there, plus this plus sign. Then on the second portion now, you want to put in the quotient of 2 root 6 and root 6. So set 2 root 6 and root 6 as a fraction. So see that root 6 and root 6 we cancel each other, leave behind 2. So these two, write it in the second portion of the bracket. So let me clear off this stuff. So now at this point you will need to underline, write your 6 down below it. So now keep in mind that you cannot divide these two 6, even though they both 6, you cannot divide them until this 6 is not having any square root symbol. But because a square symbol covers this 6, so this square symbol that covers this 6 inside is just like a restriction that deters this 6 from being divided by this 6 over here. So that's why you cannot divide it. But if it is something like 6 root let's say something is here and the root 5 plus 2 over 6, so you can divide it when you see it this way, because this 6 here is multiplied to this square symbol, and so you use division to divide, to destroy multiplication. So you can divide these two numbers in this case, but for this you cannot divide them. So therefore our answer 8 root 6 bracket root 5 plus 2 bracket over 6. So that is our answer. So that is the answer for that one. Now what if you see another one like this? Let's say root 7 over root 12 minus 3 root 6 over root 8 plus, let me clear off this stuff. So plus 2 over root 3. So let's look at this one. What is the LCM of 12, 8 and 3? So the LCM of 12, 8 and 3 is 24. So for this 24, you want to look for, now you want to divide your 24 by, now technically you're going to, you need to put square root symbol. So the LCM of root 12, root 18, and then root 3 is going to be root 12. So you need to look for the numbers that are in them and just put the square root symbol on the top. So therefore you should get root 24 for the LCM of 12, 8, and 3. So now so I read it this way: root 7 over root 12. Root 24 divided by root 12, it will give root 2. So this root 2, multiply it by the first fraction. So that is, multiply the denominator by that root 2 times, and the numerator by that root 2. Root 2 over times root 2 minus, then your root 27, which is the LCM, take it again and divide it by root 8. 24 divided by root 8, it should give you root 3. So multiply this fraction by root 3. So you should get 3 root 6 times root 3 over root 8 times root 3 times root 3 plus, put it there. So take your root 24, which is the LCM, they divide it by root 3. So simply divide the numbers that are in there. So what is 24 divided by 3? That is 8. And don't forget to put your square root symbol. So root 24 divided by root 3 is root 8. Multiply the third fraction by root 8. So you get 2 times root 8 over root 3 times root 8. So at this point, I want to clean everything that is on the board, on the screen, so that I can make some space. So now, at this point, you want to multiply everything you see at the top, root 7 and the root 2 multiply together, root 12 and root 2 multiply together, 3 root 6 and root 3 multiply together, root 5 and root 3 multiply together, and 2 times root 8 and the root 3 and root 8 multiply together. So let's start with this root 7 and root 2. What is 7 times 2? 7 times 2 is 14. So therefore root 7 and root 2 is going to be root 14, because you are going to multiply the content of the square root symbol if you multiply two square root numbers. What is root 12 times root 2? So it's root 24 minus, put it, then what is 3 root 6 and root 3 when they are multiplied together? So for this 3 now, there is nothing here at the back, so simply multiply this 3 by something 1. 3 times 1 is 3, so it will give you 3. But what is 3 times 6 or 6 times 3? So it's 18. So you get 3 root 18 over root 8 and root 3. 8 times 3 is 24. So you should get root 24 here. So plus, so you need to follow this technique. 2 times root 8, it's 2 root 8 over root 3 times root 8 is the same as root 24. This time that the denominators are the same. Root 24, root 24, root 24 are the 3 denominators. So you want to choose one. Let me move it off. So 24. Then write those terms that are at the top. Then write it together. And don't forget the signs. So root 14 minus 3 root 18 minus plus, sorry, this is plus sign here, plus 2 root 8. Now at this point, I would like to move everything here, move it slightly here, as well as what is on this side, so that I can make space on this side. So now at this point, you want to factorize 3 root 18 and factorize 2 root 8. So but just keep this root 24, this root 14. And what is root 18? You can simply write root 18 as 9 times 2. So those are the two possible numbers into which this root 18 can be broken. So, and we know that root 9 times 2 is the same thing as root 9 times 2. So you are going to, if you want to, you can give them a separate symbol. If you want your work to fast, just do it without giving any one symbol. So now root 9 is 3, and 3 times 2, sorry, I made a mistake here. So 3 times root 2, it is 3 root 2. So here is what you should write over here for that root 18. So this is root 3, 3 minus 3 times, because they are multiplied together just as I did it in the previous example, times 3 root 2 . So that's it. So now write your 2 here over root 24 is also, sorry, root 24 is 4 times 6. So root 14 is, it remains as root 14, and 6, 3 times 3 is 6. So you should get, sorry, I made a mistake. Yes, that's not bad. So now at this point, you want to know that root 4 is 2 and root 6 is whole number, so you should get something like this. So at this point, you want to factor out, sorry, now you want to factor out, and keep in mind that this 6 here is multiplied to this square root symbol. So maybe I should move it closer to that square symbol. So now what can we write out here? So we know that 2 can divide 14, 2 can divide 12. So how many 2's in 14? So basically the highest common factor of 14 and 12, and this expression here is root 2. So that is root 2. So at this point, you want to set up these two fractions one by one with root 2, and take this to 2, the 2 divide. So you should get, so I'm going to clear off this stuff. So therefore you are going to have root 14 divided by root 2. So you should get root 7 there. So over here you are going to get root 7 minus sign then what is 6 root 12 divided by root 6. So how many 6 that are in 12? So we have 2. So therefore we should get 6 root 2 for the quotient of 6 root 12 and root 6. So you get 6 root 2. So put your 6 root 2 here. So you also need to set this now. What you need to do here is called rationalization, what I just discussed about, because you also need to take this square root symbol up, just as it is in fraction. If you see your answer in fraction as let's say your answer is 2 over minus 3, so you need to take this minus 3 up. So in fraction we take it off also in this stuff that I'm teaching you. So for now, what can we multiply? Simply multiply this denominator and the numerator by root 6 in order to rationalize the fraction. So root 6 times 2 root 6. Technically these two symbols will cancel, or you can simply see that root 6 times root 6. So this should be 2 here. So 6 times 6 is 36, because you need to multiply these two numbers inside the square root symbol together. And root 36 is 6, and this 2 is multiplied to this root 36. So therefore you should get 2 times the value of that root 36 is 6. So 2 times 6 is 12. So this is what we now got so far. So we got so you should get everything here has become 12. So you write the 12 below it and multiply this root 6 by this root 7 minus 6 root 2. Should we just multiply this root 6 by any number here or by this number? So we should get root 6 times root 7. 6 times 7 is 42. So simply put the square root symbol there. Minus root 6 times 6 root 2. So see, you simply need to, you are going to get, let me shift it. shift it slightly and then move it this way. So now this root 6 multiplies this and 6 root 2. So 6 times 2 or 2 times 6 is 12. So you get 12 there. So therefore you should say 6 root 12. For this root 12, we can write it, we can reduce it. So let's reduce it. So for even reducing it, we're going to reduce it. But let me just take everything here. I take it. So let's continue with it. So what we're going to do here is 2 can divide 12 can divide 12, and then can 12 divide 42? No, but 6 can divide 42 and 6 can divide 12. So we can 6 that are 42, 7 minus 6. So we should say 7 minus 6 so root 7 minus, take that value divided by root 6, so this is 6 root 2 over 12. So that is it. That is the answer. So here is the answer. So but it's not over 12. It's not over 1, it's over 2. So that is the answer. So this is the answer. So the answer is root 7 minus 6 root 2 over 12. So that is the answer. But notice that you cannot factorize this expression at the top anymore. You have factorized it once and for all. But there is a mistake here.